Welcome to the No Name Brand Podcast. My name is Sashka Hanarappel, actress, singer, dancer, turned brand marketing, sales, and advertising strategist who brands your soul. And each week, I bring you an inspiring person or message to help you discover your undergod, turn up your leadership notches, challenge the status quo, because you're fast and furious with a powerful message to share with the world. Thank you for taking time out with me today, and without further ado, let's get our creative and wisdom juices flowing. When you embrace your purpose and the things you love doing, there is no effort. You're in flow where things happen with ease, and you find yourself manifesting even more of the stuff you love, whether it's money, travel, freedom, your soulmate, whatever your heart desires. That is the heart behind the Catalyst for Life, and our guest for today, Katie Farrell. She's a transformational coach that'll awaken and help you discover your freedom and passion to find confidence, clarity, and freedom in your life. I think those are pretty vital elements to a fulfilled life. So let's dive in and find out more. Hello, Katie, and welcome.
Hi, Sashka. Thank you so much.
How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm having a moment with school holidays, but otherwise I'm great.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So we're going to dive right in. And I'd love for you to share with us how your freedom and passion was awakened and how you discovered it.
Well, I've always had this kind of inkling and real passion for finding out what makes people tick. And I suppose for me, the greatest awakening moment was when I was giving birth to my son. And I realised that what I did throughout those nearly 10 hours of labour...
Was that screaming?
No.
Oh, wow.
So I was actually on a beach mentally.
Wow.
I was in hospital, and I had an experience where the whole birth plan, was being crossed off. So you don't expect necessarily things to go exactly to plan, but literally everything on my birth plan was going the other way. Not a problem. But so it was a very long labour, and I realised actually I wasn't feeling a thing. And what I was doing was what I naturally do and hadn't really realised until that point, and talking about people afterwards, that not everybody does this. And it was really taking myself out of the situation mentally and energetically. I had been doing Reiki on myself, but I was on a beach having a lovely time, feeling the sunshine on my body, listening to the relaxing waves coming onto the shore. And whilst apparently everything was kicking off around me.
Wow.
And it was from that moment where, and the consultant and the midwife were just saying how amazed they were at my calmness, my ability to do what I was doing, having been induced, and various other factors that could have made that situation a lot worse for a lot of people. And I just realised the sheer power of our minds, and that really led me to studying and qualifying as a cognitive behavioural hypnotherapist, which is looking at how we use our minds, the power our minds have over our body, and the thoughts that we have determine the kind of emotions and behaviours that we then portray and the actions that we take. And it's a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy then. So I just used that experience and then the newfound knowledge, which I continue to this day to develop, and I'm fascinated by as research continues, to help others use their own minds, bodies as powerfully as they can to help awaken themselves and free them from whatever sort of situations they're in.
Wow. I didn't have that experience when I was in labour. I should have had you around. It would have been way more relaxed. What do you feel are things that get in our way for reaching our fullest potential? And what, in your opinion, is our fullest potential, in inverted commas?
I think from experience personally and working with hundreds of other people, fear. Fear is one of the biggest things, because it's almost like we're afraid of our own potential, because we don't often allow ourselves to explore it when we're children. And I love watching children at play because they are fearless. We're born fearless. We're born knowing that we're loved. And yet we get conditioned by reactions of people around us when we're growing up, our environment, communities around us, what's deemed socially correct. And we start dampening down our talents, our abilities, especially here in the UK. We're known for our British stiff upper lip and playing things down and being self-deprecating, which is good in some ways, but it also means that we're always denying ourselves our true abilities. And I, through my studies and experience with Reiki, this universal energy, truly believe that we are all energetic beings. We're here having a human experience, and an experience that we've chosen as a soul to have for whatever reason. So we may have had many lives before. We're bringing ourselves to this planet to have an experience that will help fulfill our greatest potential, because I believe our potential is actually limitless.
Wow.
Because how can you limit universal energy? You can't even grasp its true magnitude. So I think our potential is unlimitless. It's only our limits as human beings and our experiences that we put on ourselves. So I love helping people to explore and get excited about almost remembering what they were like as children. And I think that's a perfect place to start. What did you love doing? What could you have spent all day doing on your own with friends, whatever it might have been, and then using that to explore how can you bring an essence of that back into your life now.
I love that. I was doing a podcast with Louise Cartwright. We were talking about that, and one of the things is that what I used to love doing as a kid was just being in my own world. I just go into my own world and just be there. And that is where I'm happiest. I feel often very limited by everything around me because I'm in so much in my own world, and often then, but things around me, I mean, like the family, marriage, sometimes that really feels really constricting because you're up leveling so much. Like you were saying, like your potential is limitless. So I'm like, woohoo, let's go and explore this. And then I'm on this new wave, and then you get almost pulled back into reality, and then you're on a different level, like further back than where you were now. And that back and forth for me often disorientates me, and I'm like, oh, I just don't want to be here.
Yeah, and it's almost like that tug of war between the spirit of you and the human embodiment of you, with all that involves, as you say, the relationships, the environment you're in, and the fact that you can still go into your own little world there is great, because that's, for me, what I have found working with people who maybe are new to this concept or have started to dip their toes in and be fascinated by it and want to know a bit more. That's often the biggest step for them, is allowing themselves the time, the space to actually go inside, go internally and explore what that world's like. Because so often we get caught up, especially in this modern day and age where we're constantly in demand. We've got phones, we've got laptops, we've got, whether you're employed, whether you're a business owner or working from home mum, bringing up your family, we are constantly bombarded by noise. It's always around us, and we feel like there's been this idea that we can have and be everything, and so we should. And actually, we're just not giving ourselves time to just be us. And so a lot of people have lost, or are either lost that connection or are unsure of what it even was in the first place.
Yeah.
So by giving them the space and the skills, the ability to actually just sit quietly, go into themselves and really connect with who they are deep down and explore that more fully. And that's where we really find that we can connect with passions, with our true identity, which often gets blurred. We are more than one person, one role. We're mums, we're wives, we're sisters, we're daughters, and whatever our job roles are. And we can get pulled in so many different directions. And I think a lot of people, and I, put my hand up to being like this myself as a perfectionist, Virgo, and however you want to label it, it is very hard. You're trying to look after other people, put their needs first. And actually, for a lot of women, there's almost this sense of guilt to put yourself, to take time out and put yourself first at the top of the list sometimes. And actually, we need to do that, because it's only when we can be our true selves that we can have true and honest relationships with others. We need to love ourselves for who we are, to be able to love another human being fully and allow them to love us fully, because we don't know who we are. How can we expect somebody else to?
Exactly.
And I think that's where a lot of misunderstandings, difficulties arise, when we're not being true to ourselves, and there's that breakdown in communication.
Definitely. I mean, I know self-care, for me, it started with very, very little things, anal things, and it had nothing to do with pampering or anything like that. It was literally telling my kids, I want that piece of chicken. You're not having it. I have the right to have that piece of chicken. And my kids would be like, but it's mine. I go, I want it. And just standing up for myself in that moment was like, oh, hang on, I have my place here as well. So that was for me putting myself first. That was like cute. I'm like, I roost the roost here. This is my place here. Oh, man. I love your story on how, as a kid, you were always the one who'd be able to see where some of your schoolmates were struggling and you'd help them. And it's just something that comes naturally to you. So how has this been a blessing or a disadvantage in your life and career?
Yeah, I do believe it's been a bit of both, but I think on the whole, it's been more of a blessing. Because when you have a talent, a gift, whatever you want to call it, it does come naturally to you and you enjoy doing, because our gifts are there for a reason. We're meant to enjoy doing them, having them, even though I'd love to be Wonder Woman and bullet repelling bracelets and things. I'm not quite there yet. But yeah, I was always able to pick up information quickly and absorb it, translate it, use it to however I needed to use it. And I've always loved helping other children, other people. And particularly we had a child in our class who was in special needs, but back in the 70s, 80s, it wasn't recognised. And to be honest, I was like his second teacher. I was like what we would have now as a SENCO assistant. So I'd finish my work. I was often given work from 2 or 3 years above me to complete as well. So I think in that sense, it's potentially something that held me back if I was the sort that wanted to go on and be more academic. But actually, I loved more helping other people. So it didn't hold me back in that sense. And so to help him, I'd help others. And it was really only on reflection as an adult that I realised I was able to, in a sense, translate information. I'd had a natural ability to understand where another person was seeing things from their perspective and being able to translate the information so it made sense to them, to their perspective. And I love that moment when you can see the penny drop and somebody, I understand now, and then be able to get on and do it for themselves. And I think that's the key moment, is when you know now it's about empowering other people. It's not about telling them how to do it and what to do, because then they're always dependent on somebody else to do it for them. And it is about helping them to see things differently in a way that makes sense to them. And then that gives them that confidence, that sense of empowerment that they now can do it for themselves and continue to grow. And I realised there was this common thread going through my roles in life, my career, and it was very much about doing exactly that, helping others, translating information for them, whether directly because I loved languages, I spoke French and Spanish, or just understanding information, computers. I mean, I laughed when I look back and thought, how on earth did I get into IT and systems and implementations? We didn't have computers when I was at school. I was just very lucky that my second role was with General Motors, working for the head of European IT, and that was the ability that I had to actually take information, understand it quickly, even if I had no knowledge about it previously, be able to understand the information quickly and translate it for others to help them to understand it. So my life changed. Now I became a mum. I was fed up of doing the 60, 70-hour weeks trawling around the country and Europe, and I decided I want to do something different. And with my experience of having my son, there's something in this. I want to explore it further.
Cool. So you've always been very, very, very curious as well.
Very. And it's funny you should say that, because the image that comes to my mind is as a 2, nearly 3-year-old, and my mum caught it on camera, and it was me pulling aside a fence panel in our back garden to creep through to our neighbour next door, an old lady that I adored. And my mum caught me on this particular occasion because I used to just disappear for a little while. And it's just me looking back at the camera being caught in action. I've always had this sort of insatiable curiosity, I suppose.
To find out what's on the other side, and probably has a lot to do also with freedom, because when you're able to explore that curiosity and see what's on the other side, it's almost a sense of like a relief of freedom, because you made a choice and it's like, oh wow, I can do this. Like no one's stopping me. It's just me that I can go through with this. What does the word freedom mean to you?
Freedom is a number of things. It's space, it's unlimited, unrestricted, it's freedom to explore, freedom to be yourself and sort of express who you are and find out more. And that's probably the key one, is find out more, that curiosity of what else is there. And I love having new experiences. That's kind of what I'm all about. It's experience. It's not things, it's new experiences. And just now we've been on holiday, on a big family holiday. And I remember watching on the display about how high we were climbing and in the aeroplane. And we got to sort of 12 and then 13,000 feet. And I just turned to my son and my nephews. Do you realise, look out the window now, boys, and look how high we are. We did. There's just a few little clouds around. I said, this is how high I was when I jumped out of that aeroplane and did a parachute jump. It was just seeing the looks on their faces, but it just brought it all back to me. And wow, I did that. And you look down out of the window and think, that was such an amazing experience. And I remember doing it. It was a tandem jump for charity, but I loved it. And the second I landed, I just wanted to get up and do it again.
Oh, wow.
And it's just things like that you just need to do, because you just don't know what you can do until you do them, until you try.
Yeah, that is so cool. That's on my bucket list. I'm doing that as well.
You've got to. Definitely.
I'm going to be doing that. I say to my kids when I'm 50, and I've actually lived seeing my grandchildren, so should anything happen, I've lived a good life. So I found our brains freaking fascinating. And I'm reading a book at the moment by Roger Dooley called Brain Influence. And it's really mind-opening. Excuse the pun. What book has challenged you and opened your mind on the topic brain and cognitive behavior, if any at all?
Oh, do you know, I'm a bookworm. I love books. And that's one thing that I used to do all the time when I was little. Just absorb them in minutes. So it would be very hard to say just one because there've been so many.
Or name maybe 3 or 4.
The Magician's Way is very good, very different. It's written in a sort of story form, but about a man who's sort of introduced to the ways of our minds and our energy and how we can use them to help our focus, help us to achieve what we want to achieve almost without realising we're doing it. So and the author goes out of my mind. That's where my mind isn't as good. Names, no. Faces, I shall never forget. I only need to see you once and I shall always remember you. But names, please don't ask me to remember.
Oh, brilliant.
So, but The Magician's Way, I can provide you with the information afterwards if you want to confirm. Path of Least Resistance. And
it's always so funny when you think about a book and it's like, damn, what was that title? I remember how it made me feel, but I can't remember the title.
Oh, absolutely.
So what we can maybe do is then pop in, when it occurs to you, then we can pop that into the show notes if you've got 3 or 4 books and whatever thing, and then put that in there.
That I would recommend.
Yeah, that sounds really, The Magician's Way. That sounds cool. I like that.
Yeah, William Whitecloud.
Oh, there we go. Ding, ding, ding.
Just come to me.
Love that. So many of us fall into procrastination and the distraction trap like we did now. Oh, squirrel. And there's so many shiny things out there. What tips can you offer the listeners when it comes to getting more focused and improving your concentration?
I would say mindfulness as a general practice. I mean, there are a number of tips that in the moment I could use and lots that I use with my clients. I would say in terms of improving your focus overall, generally, mindfulness is amazing because a lot of people think mindfulness and meditation are about emptying your mind out. And that's probably one of the worst errors in terms of thinking about it, because unless you're a Buddhist monk that's lived on a mountain for hundreds of years, that would be almost impossible to do. But it's actually about improving your focus. So by taking a moment out of the day, it doesn't have to be 20, 30 minutes. It can literally be 30 seconds to a minute to just sit back. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you've just got so much going on in your mind, you don't know where to start, just sit back quietly, give yourself 30 seconds to a minute. And just a good way to start is to just focus on your breathing. And it sounds so simple, but just focus on the breath coming in and then going out. And you will notice, especially when you first start it, that thoughts come into your mind. You're thinking, oh, but I've got to do this. Oh, what am I going to cook for dinner tonight? Oh, I've got this deadline to meet. But actually, the art of mindfulness is about recognizing those thoughts or feelings and emotions as well. And just kind of saying, okay, that's fine, I understand, but just for now, I'm going to let that go. And just allowing your mind, it's more about quieting the mind down, that noisy chatter of the conscious mind that's always, on the lookout for something new. And it's about calming that down. And as simple as it sounds, it is so effective, because just taking that 30 seconds to a minute out of your day, actually, in terms of productivity and focus and your mental agility and strength, it's like giving yourself an extra hour in the day. So that would be my one top tip, that if you haven't tried it already, definitely give it a go.
Just listening to you, I'm like, yeah, mindful. Everything's all mindful, people. Okay, Katie. Can you imagine? So you're a Reiki master and a cognitive behavioural specialist, which means you work with quite a few gorgeous souls, which can often be a little bit draining sometimes, probably as well, because there's a lot of, like you were saying, when being mindful, every person's different. It could be someone that's focusing on attempting a triathlon or setting the milestone to do a triathlon, or wanting to present, having fear of public speaking.
Yes.
And just the mindfulness in those situations. Because you can talk a lot. There's a lot of talk, a lot of techniques, a lot of methods. And it's when that penny drops that you go, oh, thank God. Brilliant. It's a great moment. But there's still a lot of energy that you're using. How do you replenish your energy? How do you fill back the cup? Fill up the cup.
For me, it was actually when I when I was first introduced to Reiki, that I understood I'm very much an empath, sense energy, and I very much sense other people's energy around me. And I hadn't appreciated, I'm very much an extrovert. I love being with people. I get my energy from others. I'm also sort of that needs to take time out and be with myself. And it was only when I came across Reiki and understood what was happening in that exchange of energy between beings and learned some techniques to actually protect myself from energies. And it's not about shutting yourself off. It's about really honouring your own energies and wanting to keep those, to value your energy. And you want to share your energy with others, but you don't always want to take others' energy in. Typically, if you understand the law of attraction, you will attract and resonate with others who have similar energies, but you can't always control or determine what those energies are going to be. If you're working with clients, especially if you're employed and you're coming across different people all the time, you can't decide, who you're sitting next to in the office or which client you have to work with today. And so I learned some techniques about grounding your own energy, but also protecting yourself. So I use, and still to this day, if I know I'm going into a situation which is going to be quite tough, or I need to kind of keep my own reserves for myself and not be exposed to negative energy that's potentially going to be around, then I use my blue cloak, blue energy cloak. And blue, as well as representing the throat chakra, so it gives us our voice, sort of our true voice, and it enables us to get things off of our chest and to communicate with others well. So it means it's not blocking any communication from you. It's actually, if anything, enhancing it. But it's also a protective cloak. It can wrap around you. And I add to that Reiki energy for sort of empowerment and harmony. And that helps protect from any incoming energy that's not right for you. I will always use that technique.
I love that. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm going to be, this is strange, with my blue cloak. Tell me about your why for your business, the Catalyst for Life. What moves you to your soul when working with clients?
It really is that empowerment, seeing the light go on in someone else's face when it's almost like you can see these layers of beliefs or restrictions, fears just almost evaporate from them. Just see the light going on in their eyes when we've explored what's been holding them back, or just very often people don't know what they do want. They just know they're not happy where they are right now. And that can be, so often I hear from women, they'll say, why aren't I happy? I've got a lovely husband. I've got 2 gorgeous kids. Well, they're healthy. I've got a decent job, but I'm not happy. And am I wrong for feeling that way? Am I just being selfish? And it's then that you find, for whatever reason, there's a nugget of their true passion, their true core that they're not living. It's not being fulfilled. And when you help them to explore that and understand, they're not being bad for wanting to do more. In fact, if anything, you're helping your family, your loved ones, your friends, your clients even more by being the true you, the whole you. So when it's that moment of seeing this shroud or the veils of what's been disguising maybe some of those things or just hiding them, being lifted, that realization dawns on them and, oh my gosh, that's what I love. Or they can see that possibility of what's out there, that potential for them. And it's that moment, that switch, when they go, I can have more, I can be whatever it is and not feel bad at doing it.
Yeah, and that's where that you bring with the Catalyst for Life is that's where when you have that aha moment, you then realize, you got confidence in order to make a choice.
Yeah.
And when you have confidence, you're very clear in what you're doing. So the clarity, and through the clarity, you're able to make choices, which is freedom, because you have a freedom of choice.
Completely. And you'll notice that things just start to happen more easily. You won't feel like you're banging your head up against a brick wall anymore, and you'll know it will feel right. It's quite hard to explain it in words because it is more of a sense feeling that you have that, everything is just flowing.
Yeah.
It just feels good. And as you say, it instills more confidence. And because when you do something that feels good, it feels right, it works out well, it boosts your confidence and it enables you to then make more decisions, take more choices, and it just flows so much more easily.
Yeah. So we've come to the end. That's how fast time goes, I know. And at the end, I ask all my guests 2 questions. And the first one is that I would like your take on my core values and to fill in the blank. So passion for you is?
Passion for me is really living the true you authentically. It's being able to love the here and now, whatever you're experiencing. It's about connecting with that moment and seeing the beauty in every moment, saying that life is always easy, and it's about understanding and extracting from every moment the the beauty, the joy, the reason for it. And when you can understand that, it's really like you're living your passion every moment. And I know it's become almost like a cliche thing to say, but it's so true when you have that and understand it.
That's so true. I've got it tattooed all over my back. Creativity for you is?
Creativity for me is the expression of who you are. And I think one of the biggest blocks that people have is they think they need to be Da Vinci or to be creative. And it's not, it's about we are all creative human beings because we create what we are, our experiences. And we're so powerful to be able to do that. And we understand that's what we've created and we have the power to create it differently. It's even better for ourselves. Is amazing. And we are all creative human beings.
I love that. Wisdom for you is?
Wisdom is understanding your strength. I think it's so different from intelligence or common sense, or it's about understanding who you are, what's got you to where you are today, and learning from that and sharing it with others.
Love that. I can definitely resonate with that. I'm wise, people. How do you want to change the world or challenge the world doing what you do?
I would love to use the knowledge that I've gained and the skills and understanding to help others do the same. So not just working directly with clients as I do currently, but helping children especially, and those from maybe less privileged lives. You know, as a working class family member, you know, myself, it's about helping them to empower themselves and empower others. When we really understand who we are and have love for ourselves, and that we can then share that love with other people and the understanding, I just think the world will be a much better place. And I think we've had some atrocious events in recent weeks and months. And I think what's amazing is seeing the connection that people are having with each other. It's really, in the face of adversity, the love and the care for each other this has brought about is amazing. And any contribution that I can make to that across the planet, I would die a happy woman and come back and do it all over again.
I love that. I love that. And pretty much something that we should all adopt. I think just being that compassion. It's something that we also learn. It's an education to be compassionate. Katie, it's been wonderful having you here. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I've loved it. I can't believe it's gone so quickly.
I know. That's how quick it goes. And for the listeners, you can find out more information on thecatalyst4life.com. And in the show notes, we'll pop in there Katie's social media handles, her favorite book, her favorite quote, and just some tweets for you, some nuggets of gold that you can tweet out. And thank you, everyone, for being here, and for you, Katie. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saskia.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Dang, that was just supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I enjoyed having you on board, and please do me and you a favor. Head on over to iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. Click subscribe, and a super bonus, leave your review and you stand a chance of being announced and advertised on the show. I'm always striving to ensure that your brand is uplifted and empowered. Remember, done is better than perfect. So be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and send in your feedback too. You're the absolute best. Keep rocking.